Good afternoon, or should I say good evening. This is the 5 o'clock update of our winter storm for January 19th, 2025. Well, we've been going since 11 a.m. to watch the evolution of the storm, and now we're at the time period where it's basically make or break for zones 4 and 5, which is the immediate coast. It looks like snowfall has been occurring pretty much as expected in zone 3, zone 2, and zone 1, which is in much of northeastern Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey. Now, what about the I-95 corridor? This has always been an area where it's been a tricky forecast, but the bulk of this forecast expectation was going to be from 5 to 10 o'clock this evening, where we're going to get some very heavy snowfall in a very short period of time. Now, remember, this is a fast-moving storm. So, when we get this intense snowfall, if it misses certain areas, then the forecast will bust. If it doesn't, then the forecast will verify. That's pretty much the name of the game. So just to go over the actual forecast, first let's see how we're doing with the sports forecast. This has been issued a couple of days ago, and I said for the Eagles game that you'd get a periods of snow, sleet, and rain for the first half, and then the second half would go over to snow. And that has pretty much evolved. So the reason why I'm showing this is not to toot my own horn, but to show the timing of the storm is pretty much right on the dot. It's 4:57, 5 o'clock. I said this changeover would start to begin for the I-95 corridor, and that is exactly what we're starting to see. In Freehold, New Jersey right now, we have snow and sleet changing over more to snow, with our temperatures now at 33 degrees and getting ready to fall below that. So taking a look at our observations, look, the winds are coming in more from the north-northwest. That means our low-pressure system is now off the Delmarva Peninsula. The cold air is starting to get pulled towards the coastal plain. Your freezing line is pushing now through western New Jersey and heading towards the coast. Your Arctic air, it's 20 degrees. 20 degrees up here in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, with the cold air starting to sink southward. Now, again, the idea was if the low pressure system was stronger, it'd lead to warmer weather. So you'd end up with your snow accumulating snowfall all up here and nothing down here. So far, you might be saying to yourself, Stephen, that's what's happening. It's a bust. It's this, it's that. You have to understand patience. It's a bust if between now and 10 p.m., the I-95 corridor doesn't get snow. So right now we're changing over to snow. Now we're going to see whether or not this forecast works out. And if it evolves the way I think it is, we are in for some very impressive snowfall rates setting up. So take a look at the radar and we can see intense heavy snowfall setting up over. Let me refresh this here real fast. Apologies. On our WeatherTap radar. Now, again, we're starting to see banding starting to set up. Look at this moderate banding, heavy banding starting to show up around Philadelphia. You can see the snowfall starting to accumulate on the field, which is kind of impressive because if you think about it, that field is actually warmed. So you could tell the type of heavy snowfall that is starting to evolve here, being able to overcome that influence on the field. You can also see moderate snow going all the way back to central Pennsylvania. Here's the end of your storm right here to kind of give you an idea of what we're setting up here, with the back end back here towards northeastern Pennsylvania and back here. So this is our back end, and all this is still got to lift through us. And as I suspected, the precipitation shield has filled up, and we're starting to see that moderate to heavy banding starting to show up around the region. So the next thing we're watching for as our low pressure system develops off the coast, we're going to watch to see if we're going to start to get colder cloud tops showing up around here for intense banding. We're going to keep an eye on the deformation zone starting to show up here. And of course, our strong lifting. Here is our strong PVA at 500 millibars lifting through the region. And then it all comes down to frontogenesis. Intense frontogenesis setting up over portions of southeastern Pennsylvania, well, actually south central Pennsylvania, up through northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, and off towards Massachusetts. This whole area is just going to swing right through at 700 millibars. There's our 700 millibar low. Again, I'm sorry, this is our 850 millibar low. And you can see, again, the warm air transport is shutting down over southern New Jersey. Now, as this continues to shift off the coast, we'll start to see this banding here really intensify. The cold air continues to sink south. 925 millibar low is now pushing off the coast. The warm air transport is over for everyone except for Cape May County. Now you're seeing that northerly wind taking shape over central New Jersey, and that as a result, that precipitation shield is starting to change over. Same thing here. We're seeing that strong lifting, that strong front of Genesis showing up. And then there's our surface low and their freezing line getting ready to fall towards the coast. So again, this is a time period of kind of make or break with the forecast. It's either going to evolve here and set the stage where I'm looking for at least 1 inch here, which I think is doable, and 4 inches here. So it's going to be very interesting over the next 5 hours to see what type of snowfall rates we have and the type of evolution. The max here is 8 inches. This would be if we had that changeover from sleet over to snow much faster. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Looks like we're going to be more towards the lower end here. Same thing for in this area right here in zone 5. These 3 zones have already verified very nicely, as I'm getting a lot of reports of snowfall totals going over 6 inches in these areas. Now the question is the I-95 corridor. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out over the next 5 hours. That is your forecast discussion for this hour. I'll see you again in an hour. In the meantime, stay safe out there.